Hello, Yellow 6 students. Today's language arts lesson will be on punctuating dialogue rules. Now, when we do write our personal narratives, one of the things you need to include in your personal narrative is dialogue. So dialogue between characters. So today you're going to learn some rules for punctuating dialogue. So this is found in your resource slides, and it's slide number 24. So here are some of the rules for punctuating dialogue. Rule number 1, you need to indent for each new speaker. So new speaker equals new paragraph. Rule number 2, only the exact words of the speaker go inside the quotation marks. Rule number 3, the words used to identify speakers are called the tagline. For example, Mary said, Jane replied. Words like said, replied, screamed, etc. are never capitalized in a tagline. Rule number 4, periods, commas, and question marks always go inside the quotation marks. For example, John said, I want to go home, period, and then the end of the quotation mark. So you see that the period goes inside the quotation mark. Okay, rule number 5. Let me make it a little bit smaller. Okay, rule number 5. There are 3 types of taglines. So taglines are, you remember, he said, Mary replied. So there are 3 types of these kinds of taglines. So one is before the quote, and this is rule number 5. The comma always follows the tagline, and the beginning letter of the quote is always capitalized. For example, John said, comma, and in quotation marks, I want to go home. Another kind of tagline is one where the tagline is after the quote. The ending punctuation after the actual quote, before the tagline, can never be a period. For example, in quotation marks, everyone decided to go home. Everyone decided to go, comma, said John. So, do you see that comma after go? And that's what we're meaning. That's what we're talking about here, where the ending punctuation mark after the actual quote can never be a period. Okay? Because the period goes after the sentence, the end of the sentence, which is said John. If the sentence would normally end with a period, substitute a comma. An exception to this rule is if it ends with a question mark or an exclamation mark. And here's an example of that. Where did everyone go? Asked John. So you notice if it's a question mark, you would do a question mark inside the quotation marks. Okay, rule number 7A. If it's in the middle of the quote. In between 2 separate sentences or quotes, a period follows the tagline. In the beginning of the sentence, second sentence, quote is capitalized. For example, here's 2 separate sentences. I have a dog, said Jane. Do you have any pets? So you notice there are 2 separate sentences here, and so after Jane, there is a period. However, look at rule 7B. When the tagline splits one sentence or sentence quote in 2 parts, a comma follows the first part of the quote and the tagline. So here's a split sentence. I have 2 dogs, said Jane, comma, that fight all the time. Okay, so these are your rules for punctuating dialogue. And on the next slide, slide number 25, this is where you're going to practice rewriting the following pieces of dialogue using correct capitalization and punctuation. Sorry, I don't know why that was so hard. And you are to write the rule number that you used. For example, for number 1, Peggy said, I have 2 cats. Do you have any pets? You're going to write the correct sentence here using correct capitalization and punctuation. And then you're going to write the rule number that you used under this column right here where it says rule number. Okay? And use the rule numbers from slide number 24. These rule numbers right here. Rule number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7A or 7B. Now, for the assignment for today, you're going to go, it's actually on your assignment slide number 21. And it says, in your language arts classroom, open up the Quill assignment, commas and quotation marks in dialogue. If your answer is incorrect, please read the tutorial, then retype your answer. You may do the assignment as many times as you want to improve your score. Each time you complete the assignment, your score will be sent to me or your teacher, your language arts teacher. You must score at least 70% or higher, and your teacher will record your 2 highest scores below. So let me show you how to get into Quill. But just to review these directions here, you do not need to type anything in these purple boxes right here. Your teacher will. When you go to Quill, which I'll show you in a second, if you get a question wrong, you can redo it. Well, you need to read the tutorial and they'll tell you why you got that particular question wrong. And you can redo that Quill assignment over and over again until you get at least a 70% or higher. And I don't think it'll tell you what your percentage is. I think it'll just kind of tell you like how many you got wrong and how many you got correct. So you want to aim for, of course, 100% correct. So those scores will be sent directly to your language arts teacher, and they will put in your 2 highest scores right here. Okay? So let me show you how to get to Quill. You're gonna type, you have to be logged in with your school Gmail account. And so whatever computer that you're at, make sure you're logged in with your school email account. But you're gonna go to quill.org, Quill.org. And once you get to quill.org, what you're going to do is you're going to click on the login button right here in the top right corner. And after you click this login button, it's going to ask you how you want to log in. And you're going to press login with Google. Now the Google account that you want to select is your school Google account, your Mililani Middle Google account. Once you select that, it'll show you your activity, and you only have one activity assigned to you, and it is called, just so that you know exactly which one you're logging into, this is the assignment that should be on your quill.org account already, and it's already assigned to you from your language arts teacher. And it's called commas and quotation marks in dialogue. Okay, thank you very much for listening, and good luck.